Well, hi everyone. I'm John Retlin with a review of two more Netflix original movies that I just saw, School Life and Tigertail. One is a French drama comedy about the school system in the town of Saint Denis, and the other one is a multi-generational drama about life, love, and accepting who you are and learning not to push people away, learning to be a good person even with any of the troubles you had growing up. So, like any multi-movie reviews that I do, there's going to be spoilers throughout, but I will say I enjoyed one of these movies a lot more than the other. That being said, neither of these movies are necessarily a waste of time, even the one that I didn't necessarily care as much for. But if you aren't a fan of foreign movies and you don't like reading subtitles, you're probably not going to get the biggest kick out of it. But if you enjoy that and you're willing to sit down and try something different, you will likely enjoy one or perhaps both of these movies. So let's start off with School Life. School Life takes place in the town of Saint Denis. I am unfamiliar with anything to do with France and its school system, and that's what this focuses on. There's a bit of an alternative school, so to speak, where there are troubled youths that parents, they want them to turn their lives around, so they put them in a school with students like them. There's a lot have grown up in troubled homes, a lot like act out and everything. Some dance in school, some talk back to the teachers, some get in fights, some deal drugs, some don't show up to school at all. A lot of them are used to getting things their way and don't feel that the teachers will actually follow through with helping them. Much like, they've basically felt abandoned by a lot of people, like, whether it's their home life, where they've grown up with no parents, one parent, or two parents that just don't get along and don't see anything in them. There's a lot of stuff interwoven here. I also don't know if this was intended to be a docudrama comedy. Because it did have a sense of realism where it almost seemed like, yes, there were people obviously playing characters, but it again, since, it's French and I didn't quite get all the translation, maybe I missed something here and I missed something that if I was French, I might have gotten it a little bit more, and if I was more familiar with the French school system. That being said, there is some genuine good acting in this, and some of the characters are well-rounded. There is a particular student named Yanis that is, he's one that's very, very smart, but he feels he can coast. Like, he has friends that either deal drugs or, dropped out of school and are living their lives, and he feels he can do the same thing. But even one of his friends, it's kind of like an older brother to him, basically tells him, stay in school, apply yourself, you are good. Even suggests to him at one point in, a little bit later in the movie, I have the money, get your diploma, I want to open up a restaurant, you and I can work on this, you won't have to put a dime into it. And you can tell there's a genuine feeling between these characters, and there's also, and forgive me if I get this name wrong, Zita Harno. I apologize if I got that wrong. She plays the main head of, the new head of this school. And she's also got some secrets, some skeletons in her closet, so to speak. She actually moved to this, to this area to be near her boyfriend who's in jail, who says that he got framed for credit card fraud, but then it turns out he's actually been lying. So everybody's kind of got, some secrets and some stuff that they've been going through. Yanis's dad is in jail. He's been in jail a few times, and he lives with his mom. And they also, and, he has a sister who he is good to. There is some genuine, good-natured, feeling about this where you can tell he's trying to do good. There are other students that try to do good, and there's a lot of multicultural stuff thrown in, and, oh yeah, a lot of racism. A lot of racism. I mean, yeah, some of it's in good nature, some of it less so. And the faculty and the students, they have their own cliques and stuff like that, and it's not a bad movie, I will say that right now. The comedy actually does work, at least according to translations, because I did have to watch this with English subtitles, because, again, don't speak French. But I got enough genuine feeling with this that it was above average. However, since I maybe didn't quite get as much, and maybe some things got lost in translation, I felt this movie was a bit cliche. That doesn't mean it was bad. So overall, what am I going to give it? I'll tell you in just a second, because it finishes off with Yanis kind of acting out. He has a feeling this teacher has it out for him. And he almost gets expelled from school, but he doesn't. He gets brought back in, and it seems like he's going to apply himself. And that's where the movie ends. So overall, B-. It was well acted. well-intentioned, cliche, yes, and I think was a little bit long. There were some strange music montages and stuff like that, though music did seem to be kind of a connecting theme with some of the students, including one student and Zeta's character. He actually like appreciated the type of rap she did, or she listened to and stuff like that. And music can connect a lot of people, and that was an underlying theme there. So overall, B minus. And now I'm going to talk about Tigertail, a movie that I really liked. I really liked this. Alan Yang directed it. I'm familiar with the name. Maybe I've heard the name. Maybe I've just heard the name spoken in some circles. I can't say I've seen anything he's done. But I will say that as far as a movie that grasps the whole concept of multi-generational, like, storytelling, like telling a story of a boy who grew up basically in poverty, working in the rice fields, and not, his dad dying when he was a year old, his mom having to send him away because she couldn't afford to feed him, couldn't afford to take care of him, wanted to get a job, work hard. She sent him to live with his grandmother. And there was like a war-torn time here because it's Taiwanese with Mandarin subtitles, and there was some rough shit about this. Now, it was told in a breezy fashion, and I only say breezy because this movie, once the end credits start, it's like 85, 86 minutes. And so it's very expedient with how it tells it, but it manages to pack a lot of really great detail with this. You have pronounce the actor's name wrong, I'm very sorry, Zima. He's the adult version, but you have him from birth, from at least from being a little kid, grows up, becomes a teenager, late teenager, early 20-something. He has a girlfriend, he's working with his mom, and he managed to reconnect with her. They're working in a factory. He wants to go to America, and he wants to find a way to raise enough money to help her and to, basically live a good life. He wants to help his mother, though, because he appreciates how hard his mother has worked since his father passed away. And very, very sweet, touching feeling about this. And no, I don't mean like that. I mean that you could tell that he loved his mother and he wanted to make things better for her. And he does find love. He does have a girlfriend that he really has an affection for. But to go to America, he has to leave that behind, go with the daughter of the boss that owns the factory that him and his mother work at, a girl that he doesn't have anything in common with. And it's kind of a loveless marriage thing where it's a way he pays for the trip. He basically wants to buy his daughter a husband and a way to give her a good life and stuff like that, because he could do that. He could give her some money and everything, but he wanted her to marry into something, even if it was a loveless marriage, and the marriage doesn't work out at all. One thing I do want to say is it does go across, it goes across flashbacks and, to modern day and stuff like that. The modern day stuff was shot in digital. The flashbacks were shot in 16mm, had a very grainy feel, and a good kind of grainy feel. It didn't feel gimmicky. It actually seemed like it was kind of back in that era. The fashions were good. The cinematography was freaking beautiful. The music choices in particular were great. The music fit perfectly. Whether it was, 60s, 70s music and stuff like that, whether it was, the big band stuff, some of the stuff they listened to, whether it was modern stuff, it didn't matter. This really fit well. Also, since we're in present day, he's older now, and he's very guarded. Let's just say that. He has a daughter, Angela, from his marriage that did dissolve with that woman that he was with, Zen, I believe, was her name. And I'm, again, very sorry if I got that name wrong. But the daughter, Angela, Kristen Coe, who is freaking beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. She really captures the layers of this character, though. That's the first thing I noticed. The first... When you can notice a character's eyes, and the eyes are the windows to the soul, she really has some piercing eyes and can tell a lot as being the daughter of, I don't want to say a broken marriage, but a marriage that was founded basically on, necessity rather than love or anything else. And it was just a marriage where it's like, okay, we're going to accept being together, but we don't really love each other. With her, there's more flashbacks. She picks up her dad, and his mother, her grandmother, his mom had just passed away. And he didn't really tell her about it because he didn't want to interrupt her life and everything. She has a boyfriend, and then she suddenly doesn't have a boyfriend. A lot of stuff repeats in cycles. Turns out that, he was trying to offer her some advice, like maybe you shouldn't get together with this guy you just knew, like after 8 months. And it worked out for a while, and then it didn't work out. A lot is packed into this, and, the flashbacks, everything's really interwoven very well. I really did appreciate how good the, how good the film was. It was narrated well, it was told well, and it was all packed in to like a good 85, 86-minute package, before the credits started rolling. And it had great music. I do want to say that much. The jumps in time, there weren't too many times where that confused me, though there were a couple times where I was like, okay, like I had to really think about it, like you really do have to pay attention to that. It's not like it's necessarily a confusing thing, but if you don't pay attention, you might get lost on what era it exactly is. You can kind of see where, the main character, where where he's guarded for a reason, he's jaded for a reason, because he thought that it was going to be a great idea to move to America, and yes, in a sense, he was able to get money and live the life he wanted. He was able to help out his mother and stuff like that, but he had to leave a lot of it behind. He eventually reconnects with his old love, and everything's good. Not like that, because she, since it had like been years, like 40-something years or whatever, they connect, but she's got a husband, and, it's good that they share memories and everything. But then he's also trying to help his daughter out after his daughter had that breakup and her, boyfriend or her husband had left. And she didn't know what she was going to do. And there was a lunch scene in particular, really, really moving stuff, where she had confessed all this stuff. And he just sat there stoic because he didn't know how to confront, how to deal with being confronted with that kind of emotion. It was pretty goddamn moving stuff. There was Zima and Christine Coe, sorry if I got that wrong, did a really good job as with the father-daughter dynamic, and had some really, really good dialogue. It was very, very well written. Alan Yang also wrote this, and I'm assuming this is based on his own experiences. I mean, I don't know. I didn't study too much on this, but I can just tell that something about this seemed a little real. Like, you could tell he had a lot of passion for this project. So I mean, I'm assuming that's the case. If not, he told it beautifully regardless. It was a really, really good stuff. Great cast. You get to see how everybody was affected by, by this loss of love, or the marriage and that kind of stuff. You get to see his ex. You get to see his old love. He finally does connect with his daughter. They go to Taiwan. She said, well, what happened after, after you experienced loss or whatever? It's like, I went home. And he took her to Taiwan and showed the old house where him and, his mother, her grandma lived. And he did start to cry, even though there's this overriding theme from when the grandma first told him, a young him, to, even a flashback when he talked to Angela when she was younger. Crying doesn't solve anything. Be strong. Really, really good stuff. It's really about family and about just, maybe not being such a dick sometimes. I mean, sometimes there's reasons, but you can't always be a dick. Like, can't always be that guarded, because you got family. You only get a chance to have one family. Family by blood. You don't need blood to be family, but you gotta be there for your kids. You gotta do some good stuff. And overall, this movie told it very, very well. There weren't too many issues I necessarily had with it. Sure, it maybe could have done with some extra time to maybe flesh out a few things, but I would say that it told everything it could, as well as it could, in the package that it had. So I'm gonna say A-. It was above a B+. Because I was originally gonna go with a B+, and what actually got me to push to the A- was the final part where him and Angela went to Taiwan. So very good stuff. So anyway, A-. Yeah, School Life gets a B-, but Tigertail, which is based on the area that they grew up in, that was really goddamn good. I recommend you check that out, especially if you are looking for something different. Yes, you got to read subtitles, but you know what, folks, it isn't that bad, because it's really well written and well acted, and there's even some English parts, because you get the dad and the daughter who was raised in America talking, so it's not all in Taiwan with Mandarin or Mandarin with but sorry, cultures confuse me. It was really good stuff. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.